So these are four giants, I would say, whom we are indebted, that helped us decode Vedic symbolism and our language, in the language of those scriptures. Sri Aurobindo, Pandit Madhusudan Ojha, V.S. Agarwal, and Sri Anirvan. If those who are Indic seekers are really interested to go to the fundamental ideas of Ved and subsequently expressed in Upanishad and Puranas that looks symbolical and we cannot comprehend, I request them to please go through the works of these giants. Only then they can make sense to us. So, Kapilaji wrote very beautifully what Vasudev Sharan Agarwalji was doing with Vedic symbolism, that he was involved not in textual criticism. It is the penetration into the ocean of meaning and illusion. He was full of intuitive insights and immersion in text. And very importantly, that in last 100 years we have become obsessed with socio-economic, historical study of our text, which is not Indic and indigenous way of interpreting this text. I'm not saying that we cannot find historical information in these texts, social information in these texts, but these texts are meant for explaining the science and art of consciousness. And there they use lot of symbolic language which we need to understand. So, V.S. Agarwalji, I remember this quote from her writing, and he was working from Vedic and Puranic correspondence and correlation between their stories. So he said that, "Oh Kapila, wonders have happened today. I have just discovered that Puranas are not just narratives of mythology, meaningful no doubt, but are in fact restating and re-articulating Vedic cosmology and symbolism in a narrative form. Further, they are as if coded icons of philosophical principle." Where we are all the time engaged in that how Purana came later, how they are mythology, they are not connected with Vedic scriptures, how Upanishad is different. In chronological studies of our text, looking at them from linear perspective, looking at them from historical, economic, what kind of ideas we are coming out with. The great scholars could penetrate and see the unity and the themes running behind them and could bring out the symbolic meaning. And that was the same done by, of course, in the first I came to know about, of course, the Sri Aurobindo. Then I came to know about V.S. Agarwalji. But if any one of you are coming from Vedic interpretation or studies, you'll realize that this is very important interpretation done by Sri Aurobindo. That wherever we find the mention of Ashva and Gau, it does not literally mean horses and it does not literally mean cows. Otherwise, we'll start interpreting Vedic literature as those people, Rishi and Muri, those who were involved in trading of cattle and horses, and nothing more than that. Even documentaries and films, those who are made at depicting that era, they are showing that they are the people who are concerned about that their cows are stolen by somebody, their horses were taken by somebody, they are fighting with each other, for the possession of those properties and all that. So the all sublime higher meanings are robbed of, completely taken away from that interpretation. Sri Aurobindo restated those reinterpretation in modern times by stating that Vedic horses and Ashwa and cows are not cows and horses as we literally understand them. They are the principles of light, energy, consciousness, and force. For Ashwa, he said that it is depicting pranic chetana, and pranic forces. For cows, he is telling that, of course, going through the rigorous study of Vedic literature, he is not speculating. He was immersed in sadhana and he knew the text very well. He is saying that cows there means pragya. It means something related to mind. And he was not alone in saying this. Of course, Pandit Madhusudan Ojha ji, who was mentor to Vasudev Sharan Agarwal ji, he said the same thing. In fact, he said that cosmic sacrifice and Ashwamedh Yagya are both connected symbolically with each other. Ashwamedh sacrifice is nothing but depiction of cosmic sacrifice in another form. Even Ashw here not literally means literal horse. It can mean horse also. But look, in the multiple levels of meaning, only one meaning does not exist. Another meaning is the sacrifice of your pran. So from pranayam, you begin your journey of inner experiences. That's what he was decoding here. Also, he talked about that yajna, samvatsar, our calendar, and the cosmic sacrifice, they are interconnected with each other. That's why the whole calendar of India, like the whole year of, it is depicted in our Indian calendar. We have Uttarayan, Dakshinayan, and the ascent and descent of consciousness, and the various mappings of Rishi, Muni, Pitra is done in there. So that cosmic sacrifice is equated with Samvatsar, because Samvatsar is time. Eternal time is splitting itself into fragmented time, minutes, seconds, years, and all that. Now it requires really very good grounding in our text and interconnection to see these ideas. So the process, and he says that this idea is cosmological. Of course, we can equate it with the Big Bang. But remember, this did not happen only historically. He said that this is happening again and again. This is recurring and eternal phenomena. So Ojhaji says that the process of creation which began in the past is continuing at present and will continue in the future. All these are creations of Brahma. Of course, lot of ideas what Vasudev Sharan Agarwalji wrote came from Pandit Madhusudan Ojha. And of course, one very important and influential scholar who wrote very authoritatively on this ideas is Sri Anirvan. His writings are not very well known, though his works are coming out. His 3 volumes, Vedic Mimamsa, got, I think in 1970, State Award from West Bengal. And here he talks about the language of symbolism as Nidan Vidya. That if we do not understand Nidan Vidya, we cannot understand these texts. Then he also uses the same term, but of course same meaning, but different term, Sandhya Bhasha. Sandhya ya Sandhya means the joining of 2 points. It means twilight. So when you look at these words, they have meanings. On one side, material meaning, on another side, they have meanings which are higher in their purpose. So without understanding Sandhya Bhasha, we cannot decode the language of mystics. And his 3 volumes of Ved Mimamsa is excellent repository of these interpretation of Vedic symbolism. Here he says that Yajna is nothing but inner yoga. Yajna is outer yoga, yoga is inner yajna. So there is correspondence between inner and outer vidya. And there he starts decoding about Agni and Som. And of course, various other ideas given in Vedic text. Not going into the detail because it will take a lot of time. But he says that Ashva here is Prana Shakti and Gau is Pragya Shakti. When we say Vedi, for Vedic Yajna, it means Hriday, where the consciousness is located and centered. Okay, I'm just giving pointers here. And Upanishad talk about man is becoming divine. Quran is talking about divine is incarnating and becoming man. So the whole process of man becoming divine and divine becoming man is so natural to Indian mind. We do not see the huge gulf or separation between man and divine, which we find in other ideologies. He also talk about that Pani, Vritra, which Indra fought against. They were not people. Indra represent the higher mind and Vritra and Pani represent the ignorance and avidya. So this fighting is against avidya and ignorance and so on and so forth. That's why Indra is called Shatkrutu. And he also called that this whole vidya is called Chinmaya Pratyaksha. Because when inner and outer are both connected to each other, it is Pratyaksha. But it is illumined by consciousness. That's why it's Chinmaya Pratyaksha. There, very interestingly, and many of us might be well versed this, that whenever you find in text, Nadi is mentioned. Okay, Saraswati Nadi or other Nadis are mentioned, other rivers are mentioned. Nadi are corresponding to Nadi also. So when we say Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, it sometimes means geographically Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati. But in majority of times, it also corresponds to Ida, Pingla and Sushumna. The same happened with Vedic literature also. So So these three giants, I'll say, of course, four: Sri Aurobindo, Pandit Madhusudan Ojha, Vasudev Sharan Agarwal, then Sri Anirvan. These four giants in the last century helped us decode the language of Vedic literature.